Everyone, I am just now getting a chance to do the Q&A that I said I was going to do like probably about a week ago. I got some questions and I just have some time to do it now, so I wanted to do that and yeah, and post it over here. So I've got a few questions. I didn't get a ton, but these are some really good ones. So I wanted to go over those, and if you have any other questions, I know that there are people on my page or my Instagram who like are my general like friends that I know and stuff, but I also have a lot of people who are my Instagram friends who have seen me and discovered me from like my jaw surgery posts. So yeah, if really anybody, I've got a mix from people I don't know personally for jaw surgery stuff, and then people who do know me personally. So it's kind of cool to see that people are interested. So the first question I'll answer is the hardest part about recovery. And actually, no, I'm gonna do the first question is what is it? So jaw surgery, I had double jaw surgery, and for me it was just a general like realignment of my jaw. So I've had issues for a lot of years with pain and my jaw getting locked up, and it causing me a lot of pain like down my neck and into my shoulders. Ooh, it is windy. And into my shoulders, and then yeah, I would just get locked up, and I had a really hard time eating things. And I think also a reason that I got it and the reason other people get it is just with breathing issues too. It kind of affects everything when your jaw is misaligned. And then biting into things is really hard to chew, yes, but also to actually bite into things. And like a protein bar, no way. That hurts so much. Or like jerky or chewing gum. I wasn't able to do that for years just because of the pain. And so yeah, I got double jaw surgery. It was realignment of my top jaw and my bottom jaw. So I have like screws all over here, here, up here, and I'll have those forever unless I decide to go in after they're healed and take them out. I don't think I'll do that. So, second question, and this is what was the hardest part about recovery? So I think the question is like the first few days, and then I'll answer the rest of the time because it takes up to like a year really to heal. I think 8 months for all the swelling to go down, but up to a year and a half for it to be fully healed. So the first few days for me, your face is completely swollen because they just cut up pretty much all of your bones, realigned them. There's foreign things in there now, and your face is like, what's going on? So the first few days for me, I was having a hard time breathing at day 4 or 5. And those were probably the worst days pain-wise and breathing-wise because you're so swollen. You get like nasal spray and stuff to help clear it all out. But I think I might have been allergic to one of them. I don't know, but it was making it almost impossible for me to breathe. My dogs are here. Impossible for me to breathe. So I had to go to my doctor, and they had to do some stuff to help me. And also the nausea. Nausea was like really, really a big part of it. So I was on so many drugs in general, but I had to be on like anti-nausea medication because that was so awful, and I couldn't really eat anything as is. And that is a whole nother thing too. No one asked me that question, but I wasn't able to eat for a really long time. I was on liquids for probably like 8 weeks, and then 8 weeks after that, so a total of 16 weeks. The first 8 weeks was just liquid, and then the second 8 weeks was like mashed up sort of solids. So a lot of eggs. I ate a lot of eggs during that time. And then another part that I don't know if it's talked about a ton from the videos I've seen, but one of the really, really hard parts of my recovery, at least, was the depression that came with it. So your whole face looks different. You lose a lot of weight, you lose a lot of muscle, and you're alone a lot. At least I was. As for the first few weeks, you can't really talk or anything. You can, but not a lot. So I kind of was secluded, I guess, or isolated for a bit, and I just listened to a lot of music and a lot of, like, I watch a lot of movies, and I think I've listened to a few podcasts, but you just don't really have the energy to do anything. And you're in your head a lot about what life is going to be like after recovery. I know I was not working at the time, so I was thinking a lot about like how these finances going to come through, and am I moving back to LA, or am I staying here? It was a lot of things that were up in the air, and so I was just dealing with a lot of depression and a lot of questions in my head, and dealing with it kind of alone. But what helped me through that was the support system that I have around me, and also just God. I would not have been able to get through any of this without God, and just rereading and seeing like what His words were over me, and affirming that I wasn't just doing this in vain, and that there's a time to rest and a time to recover, and that I was able to enjoy that time as much as I could and not feel guilty about it, or question my decision on getting the surgery. Ultimately, this was made to help me, and to be able to, like, have a better life, basically, so I wasn't in pain all the time. Okay, I'm back. Woo! I have a few more questions. So someone asked, how are you feeling with your jaw sense, and do you recommend getting the surgery? So I'm about I'm about a year and a couple weeks post-op, and I feel great since surgery. It was a long recovery process. I still feel like I'm dealing with some things. Sometimes my jaw gets stuck a little bit, but nowhere near where it used to. I feel really good. I can eat things, I can chew on things, I can breathe, and it doesn't get stuck to the point where I have to like unlock it with my hands anymore, which, praise God. So I feel really good about it. And do I recommend the surgery? If it is a need and it's necessary in your case, for me personally, I can only say what I suggest. I'm glad that I went through it. I know of a few people who got it who might be questioning like whether or not, but that's also part of the process. It's hard when you get the surgery and you don't know what you're going to look like. You don't know if everything's going to be healed. You're questioning, did I make the right decision? There's so many things that go into it, but for me personally, I'm really happy with the results. I'm really happy with the surgeon that I chose. That's like a huge part of it, because they were such a great support system for me throughout the whole process, beginning and the recovery. And I still, I love them so much. I would suggest my team to anybody. So that's what I feel about mine. Somebody asked me, how are you so strong? Honestly, I don't know. I owe a lot of it to God for the strength, because there were many, many times where I did not feel strong enough to get through it. It's definitely one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my life. And I've been through some hard things, so that's saying a lot. But mentally, physically, emotionally, it has the ability to mess with you. Before surgery, after surgery, it's kind of crazy, honestly. But by the grace of God, I got through this and I survived it. And I tried to remain pretty positive through it, but there were really dark moments, really insecure moments, and I can get into that some other time. Really sad and depressed moments, but you know what? I'm here a year later, and life is good. Things are great, and I'm really happy that I got through it. My support system, my friends and my family are amazing, and they helped me through this so much during recovery. Even now, I have such a great support system, so that was really important in my journey. And I also had another question: how painful is the recovery? I am from Cuba, living in Budapest, Hungary. That's awesome. Recovery for me, I mean, it was painful. I'm not gonna lie, it was really painful. It's more so the first few days for me where it was a lot of pressure, and like I mentioned, I couldn't really breathe. So the first few days, it was a lot of pressure, and you can't really eat, but it is painful. You're recovering from your bones being like medically, broken and put back together, and there are things that you have to deal with and handle. That's part of it, knowing that it's not going to be an easy process, but going into it knowing like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Reminding yourself that things are going to be different. They are going to be different. You're realigning your face. You're realigning the symmetry of your face and your bones and all of that. So just giving yourself grace on knowing that this is a temporary process, and the things that were done they're going to change your life for good and forever, yes, but the pain and the uncomfortability, all that stuff is all temporary. I feel like it's one of those things where the pain, I'm a year out and I like forget things. I forget how painful it was. Of course it was, but you also just deal with it day to day. That's my best advice, is like give yourself new grace every day. If you're feeling upset or frustrated or sad, just give yourself grace, because you're in a process of healing, and it's not a simple thing. You're dealing with your face, and that's what people look at, and that's kind of what people like in society judge you off of, and so you look a little different for a while. I think up until I got my braces off, I was not really loving how I looked. But yeah, I would say just give yourself a lot of grace. And if something's too painful, just take it step by step. Don't push yourself into anything that you feel like you can't get through. Yeah. And then people are just so nice. They're not asking questions, but they're just complimenting me. And so thank you guys. And then the last question I have is, does it get better? Does it get any better? And yes, it does. Like I've mentioned before, there are a lot of hard moments mentally. Physically, yes, that's assumed, that's gonna happen. But my team prepared me that I would go through some depression, some darkness, like that stuff, and they prepared me for that. So I went into it knowing that was going to happen. I think a lot of people go into it not knowing that that's part of the recovery process, and the mental fog, the pain that comes with depressed thoughts, the dark thoughts, like that all passes. It's all temporary, and I think that's so important to remember, is not to get caught up in the negative thoughts and in the thoughts of like, will this ever end? Because it will end. And 6 months out, a year and a half out, you're gonna be like, I don't even remember all those thoughts, but I do remember that it was a hard time, but I got through it. And something that I have to remind myself about is I'm so much stronger because of what I have endured through the surgery. I'm so much stronger mentally and physically and emotionally, honestly, by going through all this stuff. There were times where I didn't think I was going to make it, and I had people who just encouraged me, like, you have to take it step by step. You're going to make it. Do things that you enjoy. Hug the people that you love. Like, be around people who are supportive. And if there's something that's coming at you that's super negative, just shut that off, because you don't have time for that. You can't really deal with that in a negative mindset, but just do things that you enjoy. If you are capable, and if your doctor okays it, take a short walk. If you're allowed to sing. If you're allowed to write a song. That's what I did. I probably at week 2, which I don't know if I was supposed to do this or not, but I would sing a little bit, and that's what brought me joy. So I sang a lot, and I wrote a lot of songs during that time period because it made me happy. And I would say do anything that makes you happy, that brings you a little bit of joy. Yeah, so these are just a few of the questions that I got, and this is a long video, I know, but I hope that you enjoy and ask me some more questions, and I'd love to answer. Hopefully I'll do a better version of this some other time, but this is what I have for now. And thank you for listening. Love you guys. If you're going through this, I hope that this has given you, if you're going through recovery, I hope it's given you some sort of hope. You will get through it. You're stronger because of it. You are a warrior. Don't give up. Don't give up at all, because the other side of it brings so much joy and just, for me, a better quality of life. And knowing that I got through this is so encouraging to me. I can get through anything now. Love you guys. Stay encouraged, stay hopeful, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.